every week when I sit down to film, it's exactly the same thing. It's where the hell did I put my microphone? um, don't have ADHD if you can help it. No, okay, so welcome back to my channel, Charlie's Crochet. I still don't know what I'm doing with this. Like, I don't want to cover like big dramatic crochet world issues every week because that kind of burns me out. I don't have the capacity to come up with like constant new pattern designs, and honestly there are already so many out there. Whatever you think you want to make, probably someone's already designed it. I don't know. So I wanted to do some just more casual chat, check-in kind of things and just talk about the stuff that I've been working on. I've done a bit of crochet finally. I've almost finished with those pins. I have them in kind of 3 sets that I was working on. So there was one lot that I have to do for choir, one lot that I had to do for a friend of my mum's, who wanted to pass them off to a drag queen to take to a pride festival. So I've handed them off this morning, and that was the only one that really had a time pressure on me. I want to get the choir ones finished before our sort of end of semester performance, which is like 2 weeks from Tuesday, I believe it's 2 weeks from Saturday, but I'll have to check because I'll have to be there. So I want to finish those, but it should be fairly easy. I've cut them out, I've glued them, I just have to put the felt on the back and sew it down, and that actually goes a lot quicker than I ever expect it to be. But when you think about how many stitches are involved with just going around the outside versus like doing the actual design across it makes sense that it's actually much quicker. It's good for me because I'd like to smash them out hopefully this week, so that's out of the way. The only other real time pressure thing I've got is the ones in not pride colors, the rainbow, non-rainbow ones, like the koala I just held up, and the kangaroo I was working on last week. And those are for my mom to take to our relatives over in France, but they're not traveling over there until July, so I do have a little bit of time to get that finished. And I have to make a crochet mask because our choir's performance theme is masquerade, and we have to wear masks, and I thought I might try to crochet one so it's maybe a bit softer. I found a pattern that uses a fabric stiffener, and I'm sort of weary that it's going to be then not very soft. So I wanted to try that one first and do like a test run of it, and if it's not very good I'll try again and just not use fabric stiffener and just use regular crochet and hope it's good enough. It's not like super high key pressure, but I like to probably do that this week anyways. I did in fact finish the kangaroo, so there's its body. Its limbs, Winnie, are over here in a pile, and its head I was working on last video, and I just have to sew all of those pieces together, and that will be the first of kangaroo. One ball of that velvet yarn, where is the sorry dog, had about this much left from making one kangaroo. That was just like a discount store, dollar store sort of velvet yarn. I got 4 of them for $10, so they're about $2.50 Australian each, which is pretty cheap for yarn. Actually really cheap because that same yarn costs about $3 to $4 each online, so definitely worth buying in person for that one. So I got enough brown to do one more kangaroo, and I've got 1 ball of grey to do a koala. If Mum wants more than that, I can easily go get some more. At least during winter I can. They stopped selling the velvet yarn after the end of winter and switch it to a summer cotton. But that's super easy for me to get that done before my parents go over there. I just have to find some time for it. I've still been working on the knitted tee I was working on, the Mysterium. I'm not sure where I got up to last time. I don't think I'd done the neck split yet, so I've got that now. and I'm working down the other side of the shoulders. And then once that's sort of armpit length, you connect the two sides and do the thing in a round from that point onwards. I had noticed that the yarn is perhaps slightly different. You can see it's sort of a lighter turquoise up at the top, and this one's sort of a more darker purpley blue, but also the ball that I worked on for the first one kind of moved towards that darker blue towards the bottom. This is a hand-dyed yarn that I got from an Indian Etsy store, and I had noticed a little bit of color differences in the balls, and what you're supposed to do is then alternate every row between one ball and the other, so it kind of blends the colors in a little bit. If there are any like really stark differences. At this point, I don't think that the differences are that distinct that I'm really going to do that, but I thought when I get towards the bottom, I might start working, I think it's called like a helix thing. So basically you do 2 rows at once. So you've got 2 balls running simultaneously, and you keep meeting and then working on the one from before, so that they overlap, kind of spiraling down. This is hard to explain, and it's not a knitting technique I've ever used, so it will be first time for that, which is a little bit exciting, and hopefully it works out. It's just supposed to be an easier way, I think, to change colors, because when I did make the last knitted thing I made with yarn I'd hand dyed, not so much socks. I feel like you can kind of get away with it in really small projects like socks and gloves and stuff, but when I made that knitted singlet at the start of this year, end of last year, anyway, I did switch between 2 balls all the way down, but I just did 1 row or 2 rows sometimes, and tried to like vary the number of rows as well, and then switched, and so there's kind of a seam down the back where that's been switched every 2 or 3 or 1 or 2 rows. I don't really remember, but enough that it didn't sort of get like super long jogs, but yeah, it's a noticeable seam down the back, so this is supposed to eliminate that, and it's supposed to be a little bit harder because you'll have kind of 2 beginnings of rows at once. It's just a little bit harder, I believe, to cast off, so it will be an interesting situation to try and see how I go with that. What else have I been working on? I did these swatches with this like super fine yarn. Oh gosh. So at one point I was thinking I might try and make some rainbow ducks for choir, and so I ordered like a bunch of rainbow yarns just to test, mostly from Temu and AliExpress, and I know the like sort of history of Temu, so I do, I don't know, feel guilty engaging with that a little bit, but it's actually not a terrible option to get yarn if you're really strapped for cash. And to be honest, I think that your really cheap yarns that you buy anywhere are going to be a little bit dodgy, but I actually was pleasantly surprised by some of the ones I got. There's this lovely rainbow velvet one that I got from Temu, I believe. No, I got it from AliExpress, but I found it also on Temu because they're often, the same thing, and it's just really cute. I do love that one, and it's only because I give these away like on the cruise and stuff that I try to economize a little bit. I do always buy the cotton ones as well from AliExpress. That's sort of these ones, and they're almost exactly the same thing as these ones, which are my thrift store cotton, and they're actually a bit softer and a bit nicer. So I don't so much have qualms about the quality of it, but I do a little bit worry about the ethics. But what isn't made in China these days, and yeah, I don't know. It's not a terrible way to get kind of okay-ish yarn, I guess. So that's this one that I balled it, and it's a little bit silk. It's 20% silk, 10% linen, and 70% bamboo fiber. And this is where, being that I got it from Temu, I'm not sure I entirely believe this. This one is 100% silk, and it's really, really nice. This one is very soft. It does feel very soft. Bamboo is, I believe, actually a synthetic when it's processed like this, but it does feel very nice anyway. And so I've swatched that with 2mm needles, 2.25 and 2.5, just to see how the fabric sort of behaves at different sort of thicknesses with the needles. As you go up, they kind of gets less dense, the stitches, and it becomes a bit more drapey. But because I was going to initially knit something, I'm not still sure if I want to do that. I've been seeing a lot of these really cute crocheted sort of ribbed cropped tanks, I guess you could call them. Like, they're sort of square neck, and I think you crochet the tank part across as just like a band of like back and forth ribbing, and that's going to be like your half double crochet ribbing or your single crochet ribbing if you have done that before and know how to do that. And then you do the shoulder bits at some point as well. I think it's another one I can probably figure out how to do without a pattern, and I'm just not sure if I want to crochet it or if I want to try and knit it. I'm reaching a point in my knitting journey. I've been knitting for about a year now, where I think I'm starting to understand shaping, and I'm starting to understand how like construction of garments works in knitting. So I'm thinking about if I want this to be my first off the plan knit, I guess you could call it. But when I made the Pleone top for my mum, I for the first time ever did shaping for the bust. So that's given me an idea of how you can sort of shape knitwear for a better fit and stuff like that. And I'm just not sure if I want to try that yet or if I want to do crochet, because I'm fairly confident with crochet how I can make things fit without really it being too difficult. So that's where I am at with that. And the other thing that I did this week was a fish, almost. I was working on this as a side project while I was waiting for the pins to dry, so that I could sew the felt on the back of them. I've almost finished. I just have to do his tail. And that is because I've been working on this micro crochet aquarium. And I'm not sure, I was going to make it its own video at some point, but it's taking like so long that I actually don't know if I saved any film for the first bits. But I've crocheted this sort of gravel for the bottom of the aquarium, and that's just like a alternating rows of a puff stitch, I believe it was. And so you do one, what was it? So I believe it's a row of single crochet, and then you do rows of puff stitch and then single crochet, and every second row of puff stitch you're offset by one, so it kind of has like a diagonal to where the stitches are falling and they're not lined up vertically or whatever. And I made this coral, and that's just what you would call a hyperbolic plane or a pseudosphere, and I believe this one is increasing every stitch possibly every second stitch. So the way that you make these ones is that you do just a crochet stitch. It can be single crochet, it can be a double crochet, and the increases in the stitch type are going to change how tight it curls. But what you're going to do is increase at consistent points, and it creates that kind of hyperbolic, it's basically, it's like a flat shape, but it doesn't sit flat. So I'm not that good at maths. I studied high-level maths in high school, but I've done nothing that much with it since. I do a bit of data stuff, which is not maths. It's crucially not maths. So I can't really explain it, but I think it's like basically a plane that's like a parabola, and it keeps getting more and more wavy as it goes through. It's kind of like a science trick, like a Mobius strip or the Klein bottle kind of thing, I believe. But anyway, there are better mathematician crocheters than me out there that can explain how to make it, but it is coralish. So I did it in these sort of pinkish threads to look like coral, and it's going to be coral in my aquarium. And I'm not sure what else I'm going to do. I'm going to probably do seaweed. I'm going to try and do my fish. It's supposed to be a goldfish, but he's coming out a bit fighter fishy. So I'm not sure where I'm going with that, but I just didn't like, a lot of the fish patterns I found were like either too simple or too difficult. Because I'm doing this with 2 pieces of embroidery thread, I didn't want to have to do like a lot of sewing, because there's a lot of potential for it to go very slightly wrong, but look like it's very majorly wrong when it's in such a small scale. So I was trying to figure out a no-sew fish pattern, basically. And I got a variegated thread to do that with, in goldfish colors, so it's probably going to be a goldfish. Might be a video. I'm not making promises, because they are actually really hard to film, the tutorial videos. But I believe that is it. That is my crafts for this week that I've done. What I want to get into next week, I'm hoping to keep working on my Mysterium tee and hopefully reach the armpit and join. That's kind of my priority. I'm going to try and finish the pins like really early in the week, hopefully by Tuesday, and then I can bring them into choir. And the kangaroo won't take too long at all, so I'll probably just do that like really quick after work before going out for a walk or something. So hopefully I can finish those towards the start of the week, and I can work on my top a bit more towards the end of the week. I'm going to probably bring that one up. I'm visiting my parents again at Coolum this weekend. They are officially senior citizens, so they are having a retirement/birthday party for both of them. They're born like a month apart, which is really cute. Or actually, I think it's 2 months, I believe, because they've chosen a date that's like equidistant between their 2 birthdays to have like a huge party for all of their friends on. So that's a big one. And my sister is flying in from Townsville, and she will be at the airport on Friday, and I'll have to go pick her up, and then we'll drive up to my parents for the weekend. She's going home Sunday because she's got classes again on Monday. And I'll be leaving my parents like Sunday afternoon, so we've got her separately on a bus coming home. Poor Ella, just because I don't want to drive on the highway on Sunday. It can get so busy. Thank you, Winnie. Hey, I would like to get into some more crochet. I still have like a mountain of works in progress behind me that I'd like to get into. And I'd like to smash out some sewing projects, actually. There's a couple of things I have that are like cut but not sewn together, and if I wasn't going away next weekend, they would sort of be my weekend plans, I guess. Because I'm going away, I don't know that I will be getting around to that, but I think I need to get my sewing machine out anyway, because I've got a couple of like reusable shopping bags that the handles on them have torn, and they weren't sewn down very well, so they're just sewn with like 2 lines around sort of the top of the bag, and it's not holding on. So I'm going to go through the ones that are broken. I'm going to go through the ones that haven't broke and sew an X on them real quick so that they will stay down. And I'm hoping to do that Wednesday night, maybe before Thursday, because that's my shopping day. Yeah, that's what we're planning for this week. We will see how it goes. Let me know if you've stuck around, what you're working on. You know, what you hope to work on, and I don't know whether you like this direction or what you think I should be doing on with my channel. I got like a fishing-y comment from someone. Oh my god, sorry for shaking that. I just got this like software update notification. I do have a new mouse now, but I haven't connected it. So I had this mouse and it's been broken for the longest time. It was starting to not work very well, and then I accidentally spilled Coke on it one morning, the drink, not the other thing. So I got a new mouse, and I just got it, and I've just charged it, and I haven't actually connected it to my computer, so I don't currently have a mouse. Anyway, that's all aside from the point. But yeah, let me know if you like these videos, what you think I should do with this channel. I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just like talking at the void, I guess. But it's fun, at least for now, so I'm going to keep doing it. Yeah, have a good week. Bye-bye.